Hello, a Rosie math teacher coming at you from my second period, grade 7 accelerated math class, where today we are working on lesson 2-2 class. Your homework is online. I want you to do it online and hit submit before class tomorrow. We are learning how to solve equations involving roots. Right now we're using the teaching page 107. You can solve equations by using inverse operations, meaning if previously you went forward on a number line, you would now be putting it into what class? Think of a car. Reverse on a number line. If previously you had gone in reverse on the number line, in order to undo it, you would now go where? Forward on the number line. So let's talk about it with squaring and taking a square root. When you square a number, what are you doing? You are putting 9 to the second power, but what does it mean the same as? 9 times 9. Exactly. What would it equal? Please say it if you know. 81 is correct. So if I square a number, am I going further to the right? If it's a positive number, am I going further to the right on a number line? Yes, I am increasing in value. If I do the opposite, what is the opposite? When I take the square root of a number, I am going to a lesser value on my number line. Do we follow? So I am undoing what I did earlier. When I put radical symbol, we also call it the square root symbol, and I put it around 81. Class, if you did this in your calculator right now, which you may or you might not need to, ask yourself, what number, when multiplied times itself, would give me 81 on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
9.
If you said 9, wave at me. Great job, y'all. You found the square root. Now, point to both of these and write this label. Inverse operation. Inverse operation means to undo what had been done. So if, for example, they had found the square of a number, in order to undo it, you find the square root of a number. If they had found the square root of a number, in order to undo it, you find the number squared. Are we understanding so far? All right, here we go. To solve an equation in the form of x squared, where x squared equals p, I'm going to write that so people on the screen can see, a little bit bigger writing. X squared equals p. Class, I want you to draw an arrow from the x to a label for it. Now, take your pick from these two labels. Is it representing a square root, or is it representing a square? On the count of 3, think carefully what that x is representing. It has not yet been squared to get p. So it is the 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have a couple different guesses. Wave if you think it is a square. Wave if you think x is a square root. Those who are waving now, high five, you are correct. All right, please label that x as a square root. You do need to have this foundational understanding for this lesson to make sense. The x that is about to be squared is the square root. You're pointing at something. What do I need to know? Yes? Okay. We have a band-aid in the middle of class. It's okay. We got this. Okay. So, x squared. X is the square root. Do we understand so far? If x, when it is squared, would equal p. Class, draw an arrow and write the label for p. I'll give you a hint. You are either writing square root or you are writing square. Get it right. All right, on the count of 3, tell me what you wrote. 1, 2, 3.
Square.
Wave at me if you said square. Yay, you are totally correct. Please write the word square. Do we understand why p is square, since x, once it was squared, became p? Yes? Okay. So here we go. If you know that is the case, Then take the square root of each side. If I take the square root of x squared, what will I get, class? Well, okay, I'm not hearing any answers. So let's write this. You need to understand this. X squared means the same as, copy this please, x times x. X squared equals x times x. If x squared equals x times x, then when I square root x squared, what is the square root? Name it right now. X. This is how they got the x right here. X squared being square rooted will give you x. Once we do that to the left side of the equation, we must do the same thing to the other side, other side of the equation. So we would now do square root of p. P representing whatever number that is a square is sitting there. Now, when you multiply a number times itself and you get a positive number, what do you know about that? It could have either been a positive square root, or it could have been a, what class? A negative square root. So that's why they have the plus minus sign there. There will be two solutions, a positive square root and a negative square root. Let's move on to their example 1. Solve t squared equals 169. Now, I will ask you again. This says t squared. I don't think it shows up on the TV, so let me write it in black here. T squared, right here. What is the appropriate label for that t, class? Is it square root or is it square? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Square. Excellent. T is a square root. T squared will give us the square. So what is the number 169? Is that the square root or the square? 1, 2, 3. Square. Absolutely correct. All right, so if I know that t squared equals 169, how do I undo t being squared? I square root it. Class, draw or trace over your radical symbol here and square root t squared. It will equal a positive or a negative value of what? T. Now ask yourself, if I square root 169, it will equal a positive or negative value of, using your handheld calculator for now. At home, always use your online calculator. Later in class, we'll open up Chromebooks and use online calculator. For now, you're using your handheld. So what are you typing, class? You are typing 169, shift key, and then are you using the radical symbol with a 3 or the radical symbol with nothing? Radical symbol with nothing. On the count of 3, say your answer to me. 1, 2, 3. 13. If you said 13, wait at me. Hopefully you weren't just peeking ahead on the page. All right. And so we know it's either a positive or a negative 13. So t could equal 13 or t could equal negative 13. So the solutions to the equation are blank and blank. What can I write in this blank? Say it. 13. What can I write in this blank? Say it. Negative 13. Thank you for that participation. Do I have any questions on what happened here? All right, let us move on. Let's take a check of solve y squared equaling 144. I will write that big and black on my screen. What do I need to do to y squared to square root it? Put what symbol around it, class? It starts with an R, say it. Radical symbol. It's not a radical idea to use a radical symbol. If I do a radical symbol here to undo this, I will get the value labeled y. So now I must also do a radical symbol on the right. When I use the radical symbol around 144, when I type 144, shift key on my calculator, radical symbol, I get what amount? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 12. Who agrees with 12? Now, will this be Will this include a positive negative symbol, yes or no? Yes, it must include a positive negative symbol because it could have been 12 times 12 to get 144. Or it could have been negative 12 times negative 12 to get 144. Wave at me if we are good with this information. Okay, excellent. I want everybody, please, to turn your page. We see something that looks like a kite. It's actually a hang glider. There's a little tiny human hanging from it. Would not want that to be me. No, thank you. The aspect ratio of a hang glider. What is this picture showing you? A hang glider with this daredevil little human right here. They look like they're part of a butterfly. All right. The formula for the aspect ratio R. So the aspect ratio is called what, class? R. Is R equals S squared, where S is the wingspan. Do you know what they mean by wingspan? How far apart it is. Good. How long it is, how wide it is. Would my wingspan be longer than someone, say, that's 7 feet tall? No. My wingspan, if I had wings, would be much shorter than most other adult humans that you know, right? So when your wingspan is as long as mine, should you be super excited? No. I'm the shortest adult you know. My wingspan's super short. All right, so wingspan is S, and then A is the area of the wing. So aspect ratio equals S being the wingspan and A being the area of the entire wing. So they ask you, what is the wingspan of a hang glider if its aspect ratio is 4.5? So what do I write in place of R for aspect ratio, class? Read it to me. 4.5. Please trace over 4.5, substituting it in place of R for aspect ratio. Copy your equal sign. Do we know yet the wingspan in place of S? No, we do not. So we copy the S squared. Do we know the area in place of this A? Yes or no? Yes, they gave it to us. They said the area of the wing is what? 50 square feet. So class, trace over 50. What did you put that in place of? The A. Because 50 is the area of the wingspan. Are you all understanding where I got my numbers and why I placed them where I did? No. Which number or letter are you not understanding? 50. Okay, because up in the problem, they said the area of the wing is 50 square feet. And earlier in the explanation, they said the capital A is the area of the wing. So whenever they have told me where the A value goes, and then later they tell me what the area is, I therefore must put that number in place of that A. Thank you for asking. I'm sure you're not the only one wondering. All right, so do we all now understand where I got my numbers and why I placed them where I did? Okay, so next up, this is the part that might be confusing you a little bit. I know on the screen you can't see it yet very well, but let me talk about it. Remember today we're talking about undoing something that was done. If they had added, we will now subtract. If they had subtracted, we will now add. If they had multiplied, we will now divide. If they had divided, we will now multiply. Try not to do that. Okay. If they had squared a number, we will now what that number? Square root it. If they had square rooted a number, we will now square that number. Do you understand? Okay, here we go. When I look at 4.5 equals S squared, what does the fraction bar mean? Tell me what symbol that means. Does it mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? It means divide. So S squared divided by 50. Guys, do you remember learning long ago something called PEMDAS, where the order of operations is always parentheses, exponents, multiply or divide from left to right, add or subtract from left to right. When you were doing inverse operations, you were doing opposite order of PEMDAS. Was anything added or subtracted up here? No. Was anything multiplied or divided up here? Yes. What was it? Divided. What is the opposite of divide? Multiply. multiply both sides by 50. I'm just going to continue writing around this right here. So when I multiply this side by 50, I must also multiply this side by 50 to keep everything in balance. When you are working in an equation, what you do to the left side, you must do to the right side, yes? All right, so multiply this side by 50, multiply this side by 50. What happens when I end up with 50 over top of 50? It's worth times 1. Do I need to write times 1? No, so I just say it cancels out, and I either erase or scribble it out. Now, it does not cancel out over here, does it? No, it cancels out here. So now I could say that 50 times 4.5 equals s squared. Class, do you understand how we got here? Now I see I have finished multiplying or dividing inversely. Now is there any exponent I can treat inversely? Yes, there is an exponent of 2, s squared. What is the inverse of squaring a number? It is square rooting it. Class, draw a radical symbol around s squared because you are trying to find a value called s, and that's way too big and blobby. So sorry about that. Okay, let me make it a little bit smaller. You are trying to find the square root of s squared, which will give you s. Do I also need to find the square root of what is happening over here? Yes, but first I multiply. Class, please use your calculator to multiply 50 times 4.5. Wave at me when you have an answer and you would like to say it. Okay, go ahead, please say that answer. 225 equals, and then class, what is the square root of s squared? Just what? Say it. S. Do you understand how we got here? Now that we have gotten the value of s, we have solved it. Now let me ask you this. Could I logically say that in the situation of a hang glider, a physical object, that the wingspan could either be positive or negative 225? Would I use this symbol in this real world situation? Yes or no? No is correct. Wait a minute, if you said no. Great job. Which one can it not possibly be? Negative. Can you have a negative distance on a hang glider? No, you cannot have a negative wingspan on a hang glider. So it can only be positive. So the only possible answer is a positive form or no sign in front of it, 225. All right, I would like us to go on to the next page. We're going to scoot over to there. Now we're talking about using cube roots to solve equations. Cube roots to solve equations. We are going to solve the equation, and I'm going to rewrite it larger for the screen. X cubed equaling p this time. Now this time, x is my what root? Cube root. And p is my number that has been cubed. This time it's not squared. This time it has been cubed. X is the what? Cube root. P is the what? Cubed amount. So in order to undo what has been done, what kind of rooting do I need to do to x cubed in order to get x? I need to cube root it. Class, choose the radical symbol with the little tiny 3. In your handheld calculator, you will tap, well, you don't have a number right now, but normally you would tap the number, right? This will be in a moment. On this, we already know what number or what value was being multiplied times itself 3 times in a row. What do you call the cube root of x cubed? Say it, class. X. What do you call the cube root of x cubed? Class, say it. X. Do you follow? Because x times x would have equaled p. Therefore, we know the cube root of x cubed is x. The cube root of p, we don't know what it would be, but you should know this is how you would write it. Cube root of p. When you are using your online calculator, do you need to find the radical symbol with a tiny 3? Yes. What do you call the radical symbol without a number here? Square root symbol. What do you call the radical symbol with a 3? Cube root symbol. Don't forget to pay attention to that. All right, so let's solve h to the third equaling negative 64. Class, what must I do to undo the cubing of h? I must what root it? Say it, please. Please don't say square root it. Please say what? Cube root it. Use your handheld calculator right now to cube root negative 64, just like you cube rooted h cubed in order to get h. So now you use your calculator to cube root negative 64 in order to get the cube root of negative 64. I'll clean up my mess a little bit. So here's what you are doing. You are cube rooting negative 64 in order to find the value of h. So, what did you tap in your handheld calculator? 64 with a plus minus key? Yes? Then did you tap shift? Then did you tap the what symbol? Cube root symbol. It must have the tiny little what? 3. Raise your hand if you have an answer for me. Yes, sir. Who agrees with negative 4? Wave at me, please. Excellent. You are correct. So I now know that I can write h equals negative 4. Guys, I put it in parentheses just so that the negative sign will stand out to you when you look at it. So ask yourself, would this be true? If I did negative 4, I'm going to write this in red right here. If I did negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, would that equal negative 64? Yes, because negative times a negative would equal a positive, and then that positive times this negative would equal this negative. Now here's a question for you. Could you ever have a square root of negative 64, yes or no? No, because if you do positive times positive, it's positive, negative times negative, positive, positive times negative, negative. So you can never have a negative square root, but can you have a negative cube root? Yes, you can. All right, I feel like this has you off to a great start for today's lesson. I wish you well on your homework. Get it done and submitted before tomorrow.